All right, we live again. Back to you, Fueler Crutch Podcast. Let's talk about it. Season 3, Episode 2. I got a special guest today. Brother's been doing his thing up in Milwaukee, and so we're gonna drop this intro, and we're gonna get into it. Let's go. All right, we got a special guest, Chuck Smith. Pleasure to have you, brother.
Man, thanks for having me on, bro. I greatly appreciate it, for real.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. This one I wanted to do special just because a lot of educators, a lot of people that understand education know its importance, yet don't really talk to educators much about it and about what we go through, what we've experienced over the years. So I wanted to just go back a little bit, and why don't you just tell everybody where you're from, where you grew up?
Yeah, man. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Lived here since I'm back. Lived here since I was 18. Went to Milwaukee Vincent for 3 years. Then I finished up at Milwaukee Pulaski. Then I had the opportunity to go out to Phoenix, Arizona, to a community college and play a little basketball out there. Left there, went to school in New York for a little bit. After I finished that up, I came back home to Milwaukee, started working with the youth and coaching.
And so how did you fall in Avenue? Because I know, when you start off as a player, I don't know how many people at 12, like, I can't wait to become a coach.
Yeah. So that's a really layered question. So I start in 2008, 2009, my senior year of high school, going into college, like that summer of 2009, I got the opportunity to work Charlie Bell's basketball camp. And I had the opportunity to be like a coach / counselor.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, I really enjoyed just, coaching, being around kids. Growing up in the Boys and Girls Club, I will always find myself going to the little kids part and having fun with them, just chilling, just kicking it, and just really love being around kids. So I kind of started gravitating towards coaching real early on. I would say I'm one of the few who, once I got to college and started playing, I knew I wasn't gonna go pro, bro. Honestly. So I started thinking about I started thinking about, okay, what would life might look like after college. So once I got in college, I actually start getting into education. So I actually my major was secondary education. So I started to take it a little more serious. So but my love for coaching, I would say, started the summer of 2009. But in hindsight, I used to actually coach the guys I grew up with, when we would be hooping and stuff like that. I would give them pointers and tips, how to be better defenders, how to, dribble better, how to do this, how to do that, when we would just hoop in the alley. So in hindsight, I've always been the coach, bro, because I used to coach the guys I grew up with or the guys that were younger than me. And now I say it started to get more serious once I attended Charlie Bell camp in 2009.
Okay. So what position did you play? Because it sounded like a point guard would have been right up your alley.
Man, that's exactly what I played. I was a point guard / shooting guard. I think I got put in the wrong I wanted to score, and that really wasn't like that wasn't the thing that was popular like as
Your
basketball.
the volume got your volume got distant.
My bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
you,
can
yep,
you?
perfect.
Okay, perfect. So
Yep, you good to
I
go
was a
now.
we good? Are we good?
Yep, we good now.
All right, bet. So I said I was a point guard, and I think I got caught up in the wrong era because I wanted to score a lot. I had a nice handle. I ain't really care for passing like that. So my thing was scoring, but coach was like, "Hey, I need you to get everybody else involved." So I never really found out how to get my team involved along with scoring. So I could never find that healthy balance.
The sweet spot. I got you. So you was a
Yeah,
today's version. So you was basically before your time. So you was like the Dame Lillard, Kyrie version, but a little earlier.
I would say like my favorite player was Brandon Jennings. So I was more of a like I'm a lefty. So like Brandon Jennings, Kenny Anderson, Nick Van Exel, like I wanted to do what I was seeing them do on highlights, but that ain't how the game is played in the full capacity. You know what I mean?
Yep. Uh, so like going back to your childhood, how was it growing up in Milwaukee?
Oof, it was rough, bro. Um, it was really rough. So like in Milwaukee, all of the black people are like either on the north side, um, on the east side, or the northwest side. We call it the west side here, but like it was really, really rough, bro. A lot of poverty. Um, with it being the number one most segregated city in America, like it was a lot of racial tension. Um, like you had to be strong, bro, or like you would break. So like it was a lot of violence, a lot of shooting. Like you lose your innocence real young because like you got to grow up super fast. So you seeing all of this. On top of that, it's a lot of kids coming from broken homes. um it was tough. Like it was real tough.
And I don't think people really understand. Like they're shocked. One, people are shocked that there's black people in Wisconsin, which I still don't understand that. But
Facts.
it's like they don't understand how segregated Milwaukee is. Like you said, it's
Yes.
the number one most segregated city in the country, and so like that just takes on a whole new animal in itself.
Facts. Agreed.
So, what was your dream at a career as a kid? I know you said you got to a point where you didn't think that going pro was going to happen for you. So, like when did you shift, and what was your thought process on what you wanted to do?
I mean, as a kid, bro, I ain't gonna sit up here and lie to you. My dream was to go to the NBA like a million other kids. Um, yeah, so my dream was to go to the NBA, make a lot of money, provide another way of living for my family. Like that was my biggest dream. But I'll say that dream changed once I got to college. Like I'm a real like faith-based guy. I ain't gonna say I'm
Uh huh.
super religious, but like um, growing up in church, right? I really started asking those questions early, like why am I here? What was I created? What is my purpose? And so on and so forth. So like once I got to college, I knew like the NBA wasn't the route, but like I really only wanted to go to the NBA because that's who like the kids looked up to. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to create change. And I felt like the biggest way I could create change was to go to the NBA. Like that because I knew you can make a difference that way. You know what I mean? Like
Right. To make
when
money
I
and
was
then can
at
come back and support.
yeah, because growing up, in our community, you either hoop, right? You either rap or you sell drugs. So I knew I didn't want to sell drugs, right? I knew I didn't want to rap. So I saw basketball as an opportunity to like just make a change, bro. So in college, I knew like, okay, Chuck, you're not going to the NBA, but you can still be around basketball. So, while playing, I'm in the summers, I'm back home, I'm coaching, you know what I mean? Like helping people out at the Boys and Girls Club, just giving back to the game. Um, and people just start telling me, like, man, like you will be a really good coach one day, right? So I started really thinking, okay, maybe I should go into education because if I go into education, I could teach, possibly be a gym teacher or something. And while I'm being a gym teacher, I could possibly, coach basketball. So I think around my junior or senior year, like college, that's when I really started thinking about like, okay, well, the NBA isn't a thing. Well, but you could still have a dream career in some sort of capacity. So,
I got so I got a couple of questions too for you before we change topic. But
yeah.
growing up in that kind of environment or whatever, what were some like influential people in your life growing up?
Mm, it's a couple, bro. I would say, of course, my mom, being a really faith-filled woman, she really like showed me what it means to like dream beyond what you can see. Um, like growing up in poverty, bro, she never made me feel like I was in it, if that makes sense. Right? Like
Yep.
she never allowed me to like be a product of my environment. So like I wasn't allowed to like kick it all the time. Like Sundays we going to church, Wednesday we going to Bible study, Thursday we going to Thursday night prayer. Like I was always like in the church, bro. So like that gave me a really really strong foundation. You know what I mean? So my mom, my dad, he was a rest in peace, but like he was a really great guy. And he was an entrepreneur. So like he showed me what it means to like get up every morning and like you gotta earn your check. Like nobody's
You gotta
gonna
earn
give
your
you
keep
nothing.
for
Like,
real.
you know what I mean? Like as an entrepreneur, like you literally have to create your own income. So like he showed me how to do that, and he showed me how to like navigate this world being a black man. You know what I mean? Um,
And I will say that is taken for granted because not everybody has that opportunity or experiences that because life ain't easy. Life is hard, and it's super hard when you don't
yes,
have somebody that can give you that game because they done been there and done that.
agree. And like it's unfortunate, but like it shouldn't be a privilege. But at the same time, like in our community, it is a privilege, and it's something that I don't take for granted every single day. You know what I mean? But I say so. My mom, my dad, um, my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Williams, his name Garland Williams. He was the first black teacher that I ever had in fifth grade. Like this was a dude who, the first person I really seen like in education wearing like the same shoes we wore. He would wear Jordans. He'll wear Iversons, the new T Max, the new Kobe's. Like he had waves. Used to wear FUBU,
You can see yourself
Rockaware.
in them.
Yeah, like he was the first dude to like put me on like Wu Tang, like you know what I mean, like just put me on like things that I didn't know existed within our community. You know what I mean? Like first dude put me on Nas, like he was just like that guy to me, bro, and like he's a big reason why I'm in education right now. You know what I mean? So I would say my mom, my dad, him, and then my ninth grade civics teacher, Marcus Hines. Like he really changed my life. He was another black male educator who just didn't accept less, set high expectations for me. But like what Hines did, bro, he like spoke life into me every time he saw me. Like he always said, "Man, you bright, you brilliant, you got a future. You always neat, you organized." Like he just man, he poured so much life
Words
into me.
have power.
Yes.
Words have so much power. People don't understand. Like hearing those things changes your mindset. Because truth be told, we don't always feel that way. Like you bright, you intelligent, you smart, you got this, that, and the other going on. We are 15, 16 years old, questioning everything, not sure where we
Yes.
fit in, trying to figure it all out.
And you hit it on the head, bro, like that fit in piece. Like, man, like we were trying to fit in so much because, like, honestly, bro, all my life growing up in church, bro, like all my life all you hear is, stay away from them people, bad manners corrupt good company. Like I was hearing all that type of stuff growing up, and it's like, bro, I ain't trying to hear that. Like I don't want to like be away from everybody, or I don't want to take the narrow path. You know what I mean? Like I want to have fun. I want to have friends. I want to go to homecoming. I want to do this. I want to do that. So like growing up in a faith filled home, bro, like all you heard was like, well, all I was hearing was you don't need friends or you shouldn't have friends. And that wasn't what my mom was saying, of course, but being young and rebellious, like that's all you want to hear, right? Because you want to do what you want to do.
Right.
So yeah, I would say those are probably like four people that really inspired me growing up. My mom, my dad, my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Williams, and my ninth grade civics teacher, Mr. Hans.
So you even talked about being faith based and spending time in the church. Do you how often do you go to church?
Say that again.
How often do you go to church now? I just seeing that was your foundational piece for you.
Oh man, it's still a big foundation for me, bro. Like due to being a college coach and um a teacher now, I'm not able to go like every Sunday because like my plate is like super full. But I try my best to like chime in online, or like just watch a sermon at home
I and,
every
and I asked
Sunday.
and I asked that because when I was younger, that was huge for me as a foundational piece. It kind of helps instill some core values in yourself.
Hmm.
But then it was always like, I don't know about you. I know there was a point in time where I like left the church. It's probably one of those
Mm,
rebellious stages or whatever. But the thing was having that foundation, you always knew where you could come back to.
yes, agree. And for me, um, I don't think I was like as I got older as an adult, like it was probably the opposite for me. I think once I got into adulthood and started like living on my own and stuff like that, that's when I realized like I needed church. You feel me? Like that's when I realized like, oh, like church is for community. You know what I mean? Like this is where you come to assemble with other like-minded people, or to be around people that's going through everyday life like you. You know what I mean? So like I started to realize the value in church once I had to live on my own, and my mom or my dad wasn't there to save me. You know what I mean?
That's real. So, how were you as a student growing up? And that goes elementary, high school, and then college.
Man, honestly, bro, I was a pure nerd. Like I ain't gonna hold you. So like from first to fifth grade, I don't remember getting a B on my report card. Um, so I was straight A student. I got to middle school. I say like sixth or seventh grade, I was honor roll every quarter. I made the honor roll, but like going into like that last quarter of my seventh grade year, I feel like that's when things started to change a little bit. That's when I started like hanging around the wrong people, hanging around the wrong crowd. Because honestly, bro, like the girls back then, nobody wanted the smart dude, right? So all the girls that I seen, they wanted the tough guy, the guy that like made fun of people, like you know what I mean, like just seeing girls chase after like the rebellious dude or the dude that like looked like he'd beat everybody up. I started like I started seeing that, and I'm like, oh man, like all my life people been saying like, oh, they want the smart dude, they want the dude that got something going for himself, but When you seeing the total opposite as a kid, like you ain't trying to hear that. And on top of that, not just the girls, but like the rough or like the tough dudes, like they had the respect of the whole school, right? So I think like I started to give into like peer pressure. I started to give into like wanting to fit in instead of wanting to stand out. So like seventh and eighth
Ooh,
grade, bro. Like seventh and
speak
eighth
on that.
grade.
The fit in instead of standing out. That's huge. And
Yeah,
it takes a
bro.
strong, confident person to understand that and then to do it.
Yes, agreed. And like I think being an educator now, I see it in a lot of kids. Like I see myself in a lot of kids. And every time I see that, like that's one thing that I always like. It's two things that I tell kids as an educator, bro. That's the first thing I say, like, you weren't created to fit in, you were created to stand out. And the other thing that I tell them is like, I hold you to a standard of excellence because you are excellent. You know what I mean? And if somebody would have told me those two things when I was in middle school, like going through that rough phase in seventh and eighth grade, when I was like a straight A student, but here I am getting like 0.7s, getting 1.3s. The last quarter of my eighth grade year, I had to get a 3.0 or I was gonna have to repeat eighth grade. Like a lot of people don't know that stuff, bro. So like I really like just was about to take the wrong route. But the last quarter going into my eighth grade year, I think that was the first time like I ever made my mom's cry because like she was so pissed off that I was possibly going to have to repeat the eighth grade. Like she couldn't comprehend and she couldn't understand it. And she was so upset at herself because like she was working two or three jobs to provide for our house and she wasn't able to like keep up with my grades. You know what I mean? So like seeing her go through like provide for the crib and me like being a knucklehead like that really kind of it did something to me. And like that last quarter going to eighth grade, I was like, all right, man, I gotta tighten up. So like I did, I ended up getting like a 3.4 and finishing out middle school on a good note. Then I got to high school. High school, I was pretty much around that 2.8, being lazy, but still doing my work, doing the bare minimum. So I would be anywhere from a 2.8 to like a 3.4. Never did anything substantial to try to get above, to get high honors. But I'm like, all right, let me do enough to just get by. You know what I mean? And then senior year, I ain't care no more. I had senioritis. Went to school at 10 a.m., left at 1. So I'm like, I'm good. I got all my credits. So I'm just trying to get up out of here.
No, that's real. And just speaking on that, it sounds like you knew that you were smart the whole time. And unfortunately, I know for a fact that there's a lot of students that look like us that don't realize that or know it. And I was one of them.
Mm,
Like I tried to fit in so much with that crowd, the crew that you were talking about, where I tried to downplay my intelligence or my smarts until that shit actually became who I was. And then I'm trying to play catch up. And, like we said, doing enough to get by ain't enough.
it ain't
The bare
like
minimum
the bare
ain't
minimum.
enough.
Like, you cannot be black and do the bare minimum, bro. You can't.
Nope.
It's just that's not how it works for us.
So go ahead and tell us exactly what it is that you do at what position as far as like the education standpoint.
Oh man, so I'm actually so I'll just start with the first part. So I had the privilege of helping to start a new all boys high school here in Milwaukee in 2018. And the name of the school is Kingdom Prep Lutheran High School. So I've been there since we opened in 2018, but I've been in education since 2014. So before this Kingdom Prep stint, I worked in middle school my whole life, um, teaching like math. But then I went to Kingdom Prep in 2018 to help start the new all boys high school. And for 3 years, I was the recruitment director. along with getting the basketball program off the ground. So I was the founding basketball coach. So 2018, I started with a freshman team. Then 2019, I added a freshman and a JV. Then 2020 was our first varsity season. So I just built that thing up till we got 3 full teams. And along with that, being our recruitment director. So going out, speaking at different middle schools, telling people about Kingdom Prep, why they should come to our school, putting together open houses, putting together open gym sessions on Saturdays. So all the kids in the community could come by and see what the school has to offer and so on and so forth. I did that up until 2020. Then 2021, I actually jumped back into the classroom. So
Okay.
from 2021 till present, I've been teaching English. So I currently teach sophomore English. I teach African American literature to juniors and seniors. I also teach composition to upper level high school students, and American literature as well.
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope.
Yep.
Who's the principal at the Kingdom Prep?
It's my man. His name Kevin Festerland, and our assistant principal is my guy Sean Spruer. Two
Oh
Milwaukee
man,
area guys.
no, that's super dope. I mean, y'all saw a gap, you filled it, and you're making
Yep.
it work.
Yep.
Uh, so if you had some advice to give, to a younger person, to chase their dreams, what would you tell them?
All right. That's a really great question. What is some advice that I would give a young person? Um, all right. I'll say this. Can I break it down? Like if I was talking to a guy and a girl, because like my brain is so wired. Like being in an all boys school, everything that I say is like geared towards young men, and I don't want to be biased or yeah, I don't want to be biased, so I'll just break it up. So, if I was talking to a young guy, I would say, for one, know your why, right? And that why is your purpose. So, it's a couple questions you got to answer. Why am I here? And why was I created? Right. So that's the first thing you got to ask because dreams can be very vague and you might be chasing the wrong dream, right? So, in order to not chase after the wrong thing, I think you got to know your why. You got to know why you were here, and you need to know why you were created. So, that's one thing. Another thing I would tell them is to dream beyond what you can see, right? Um, because if you don't, like life gonna get the best of you. So you gotta be able to still have that dream even when life hits you hard. So I'll say that to young men and young ladies. Like you gotta be able to dream beyond what you can see, right? Um, Another thing would possibly be you need community, right?
Yeah,
You need community. Like you can't I see so many kids that tell themselves like, oh man, I like being to myself. I'm more antisocial or I'm more quiet. So I tell kids all the time, like there's a time to be an introvert and there's a time to be an extrovert. So like me personally, when I'm at work, like I'm super like I'm all in. So like I'm an extrovert. Like I'm talking, I'm over communicating, and I have to because of what I teach. So like my job requires me to be out in the forefront, right? But once I get home, I'm more of an introvert. I'm relaxed, I'm quiet. You probably won't even know I'm in the house because I'm somewhere reading or studying or doing something like that. So I would say community is a big thing because community helps foster your dreams. It helps you be around people that might be like-minded. It allows you to be held accountable, and you also have the opportunity to like be affirmed, right? If you're around a bunch of people and they see greatness inside of you, 9 times out of 10 somebody gonna be like, man, you dope, or like I like those shoes, I like that shirt, right? Like you're affirmed and you are able to um, you're able to be around people that see the
They see
greatness
you.
in you.
They
Yeah,
just
right.
see you, and it's the what you were just talking about is like we don't necessarily need it, but it's so helpful to get that validation that we're seeking, whether it be coming
Oh,
from
we
a
have
parents,
to.
whether it's coming from the friends, whether it's coming from mentors, aunts, uncles. Man, it just hearing positivity about you changes your mindset a lot of times.
Yeah, man. And like I realized it, but I didn't fully comprehend it until I jumped back in the classroom, because in my African American literature class, I actually teach from a novel. And this novel is called The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And this book, bro, like, it has transformed the way I see the world. Because the book talks about two concepts, right? It talks about invisibility, and it talks about blindness. And like, in America, a lot of people are blind to African Americans or people of color, because they refuse to see us, and they refuse to see our value and what we bring to the table, right? So their blindness causes us to feel invisible, like we don't exist. You know what I mean? And I would say the final piece of advice I would say is never allow a blinded individual to allow you to feel invisible, right? Because what how they feel or how they see you does not determine how valuable you truly are.
Hell, you just had made me think of a quote just to come up with, like, you can't allow a blind person to see your future.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
Like if they can't, if they're blind, like they can't predict your future. Like all they're gonna do is put a handicap on you.
Hmm. And that's
And
essentially what the book talks about, man. So if you get a chance, like, grab that book and read it, bro, because it's
you
really
said it's the Invisible
transformative.
Man.
It's called The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Yep, it was written in like 1952, and like it's so relevant for today time. Like, it's probably the greatest book I've ever read in my life.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to get that. Um, so, what are your thoughts on HBCUs and like their importance,
Ooh,
or do you, if you have the opportunity, do you try and let kids know about it, or talk to me about HBCUs?
man, HBCUs are like, I wish I would have went to a HBCU. So, my senior year of high school, like, that's when I knew about HBCUs, like watching Drumline and watching stuff like that, and
Yeah.
seeing like HBCUs on TV and stuff like that. It always like interested me. In my senior year of high school, I really tried to, like, I applied to a lot of HBCUs because that's where I wanted to go. So like my
Uh huh.
top three was Jackson State, Howard, and I also wanted to possibly go to Lane in Tennessee. So I'm applying to all of those schools. And I'm like, okay, if I can get a walk on and try to hoop there, I'm definitely going. But I got the opportunity to go to, a community college out in Arizona. So I went to go do that, then went out to New York for a little bit. But I would have loved to go. I'm pro HBCU, like, I love them, right? Just being around our people, seeing black excellence on a everyday basis, man, like, that's beautiful, bro. Like, you on campus, um just seeing people strive for greatness every single day. And once I started working at Kingdom Prep, like, honestly, I said, since it's all boys, I'm gonna treat this as if we're at Morehouse. You know what I mean? Because there's a there's a real, like, I just want to talk about it a little bit. Like, there's a real stigma around our school, and being all boys. Like, the black community finds that so weird at times. You know what I mean? And like, my first 3 years being our recruitment director, like, it was a I had to do so much to just debunk the myth of like, oh, I ain't letting my son go there. My son gonna be quote unquote like gay, like you know what I mean? Like just so many misconceptions about the all boys thing. So like when I would go into schools or I would talk to parents, I would always bring up Morehouse. You know what I mean? Like because if they seen like a HBCU where you got a bunch of guys from different walks of life, like just building together and striving to be excellent, like I'm like y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all would be more open to this whole kingdom
It's
prep thing.
it's another form of peer pressure, just with a positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And
like,
so, like,
oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead, go ahead. Oh, so
because yeah, go ahead.
so for us, it's like you're every day you looking at somebody that looks just like you, that's going through the same exact thing you going through, that's trying to figure life out. Um, so what better way to do that than be at our school? You know what I mean? And on top of that, after you graduate, you'll have a because we're big on community and brotherhood. So like you'll
Uh-huh.
have an entire brotherhood and community to pull from and network from. So life after high school doesn't feel so lonely. You know what I mean?
And then, I mean, if you start to think about, teenagers, their
Mm-hmm.
hormones, being in a one gender, school, like some of the distractions of, the opposite sex isn't there. Not during the day. You focus.
The same thing we was talking about, like middle school, right? Middle school, you looking up, you see like you chasing after the wrong thing in school. You know what I mean? Like you I wanted to be smart, but then I wanted to be smart for me. But then the priority switched once I got around these girls and I started getting older, like,
You
okay,
wanted to
well,
be liked by your peers.
yeah, right. And now, oh, I want to be smart because I want one of these girls. And now, when the girls don't validate my intelligence, I'm on to the next thing. Well, let me try to impress them another way. So my like a lot of dudes go through high school and the only thing they remember is the fights and the girls that they impressed or talked to. And it's like, bro, you didn't even get a real high school experience. But
No,
then
that's
once,
real.
but then we got a lot of guys at Kingdom Prep. Like once they graduate, they come back and they're like, man, like I learned so much, I did so much, and like they appreciate being in our environment.
No,
So
that's
so to
no, that's
so
super.
so
That's
to
super.
so just to answer your question, um, I love HBCUs. I this is just my opinion. I think a lot of kids who aren't as athletically gifted that can't go to the Power Five, that can't. I mean, the kids that are getting recruited really heavily. For those high majors, those mid majors, like possibly low majors, right? If that's your dream, that's your dream. You know what I mean? But for like kids that want to go to school and get a really great education, I always try to push our kids to go that HBCU route.
No, that's real. To the point where, like, some of the reason that I started getting into kind of like this HBCU kind of like sports outreach was because I got tired of seeing, our kids in Madison that are getting recruited by North Dakota State, places in the middle of nowhere
Nowhere. Yep.
that we don't necessarily gonna feel comfortable at. Like if you can go hoop at North Dakota State, you can go hoop at Alabama A&M
Yep.
and enjoy your experience as well. Like you can actually enjoy being a college student there because there's gonna be other people that look like you that's thriving that want to be there and going that extra mile. But you in North Dakota, you see two other people that look like you, that you don't get that same experience of the college atmosphere.
And yeah, and it's super draining because you're like you said, like you're not around us and you start to like assimilate into their culture. So you kind of start losing the sense of your own self and your own identity. like your own ethnicity, right? Because everything around you is telling you to do otherwise, and that can be a real scary, dangerous transition for a lot of our young people.
Man, that transition, the transition to adulthood is tough. The
Exactly.
transition to adulthood is tough, and if you don't have that support, that community, that guidance, you're gonna get stuck. And I swear the worst place to be is in limbo.
Yes. 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 And so um I would say like my love for HBCUs really increased back in like 2022 because I ended up taking a few online classes with Morehouse, and like just seeing their
Okay.
curriculum, their classes, professors, counselors, like all of these people understand African Americans and how we operate and how we live and how we think. Like it really helped me understand like, okay, HBCUs, it's not just a place to go for black people because it's a HBCU. No, like HBCUs are literally catered and dedicated to understanding African Americans and people of color in its entirely, in its wholeness. Like so from the food we
Oh man.
eat, right? The food you eat, the classes you take, the counselors that, you know what I mean? Like everything is geared towards us. And I think it don't get more beautiful than that, bro.
And think about, like, it just leads into this, like the importance of networking and like branding. Like, man, I met so many dope people at Alabama State, that I'm still connected to this day. And that 6 degrees of separation, like you are literally 6 people away from somebody you need to know,
Oh man,
if
so
not less.
you went to Alabama State?
Yep, I went to Alabama State, so like I got to see it full on. And then, coming from Madison, Wisconsin, like going down there was a complete culture shock in a good way,
Yeah,
but
and
it was
that's I was
different.
just about to say that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh man, but I loved it. I enjoyed my experience. Like I said, I'm still friends with a lot of the guys this day. We're in group chats. We talk online through social media. We get together every blue moon somewhere in the country, whether it be LA or going back to one of the classics. So, man, it was an experience that is just something I'll never forget. And I'll say this, that my oldest now understands and gets it, that she wants to go to an HBCU now. She didn't at first because she was like, I don't want to go to one of them schools based on what she saw in schools here. So she might be in
Mm,
class with 6 other kids that look like her, but acting a plumb fool. And she like, I can't imagine going to a school that everybody that looks like me is acting like this. But I had to tell her,
mm,
like, once you get out of here, you get to see people that are like you, that want to thrive, that are there and want to enjoy, their experience, have fun. Like we like to have fun, but go make
yeah.
sure they get their education taken care of.
Yes. How old is she?
She's a junior. She'll be
Oh
17 in
man, so
November.
it's almost that time, ACT year.
Yep. So like, I'm just looking forward to it and seeing what's going to happen. So yeah. So so as we kind of like transition, I want
Yep.
you to go ahead and share the news, about your latest venture. I think that is one of the
Oh
dopest
man.
ones, as you now elevated.
Yep. Yep. So in this business, man, there's two things. You either elevate it or terminate it, right? So 2000, so I'll just start here. So as I said before, I started the basketball program at Kingdom Prep uh, from 2018 to 2021. Then I stepped down from there and I ended up going to be an assistant coach at Homestead High School in Mequon, Wisconsin, where I was a part of a program where we won the North Shore Championship, so we were conference champs. And then I had the opportunity to be on the staff to where we won the regional championship as well. So saw success there, and then I got approached this past summer to be a part of the staff at Bryan and Stratton College. So um, as of August 1st, I've been on staff as an assistant coach at Bryan and Stratton College.
So yeah, man, that's super dope. Congrats on that for sure. And so talk about how's that grind. I know it's different. It's different than just the high school schedule season. This year
Yeah,
round.
yeah. So I say the biggest difference is um like the level of expectation, right? Because we're not just coming into like this ain't a rebuild. You know what I mean? Like Bryan and Stratton is a D2 JUCO that won 27 games last year. They won 25 games the year before that, and they won 22 games the year before that. 2 years ago, they were a game away from going to the national tournament. You know what I mean? So like the coach that just left, he took a job at UW La Crosse, and the coach before that, he's at Division II Northern Michigan University.
Okay.
So, like the coaching staffs that have been here in both of those stretches have seen great success. So, one thing is like the expectation. So we're coming in with a pretty young staff. Nobody's over the age of 35, right? So we got a really young and hungry and staff that's ready to work. So we came in, and my head coach got the job, like I said, um, in August, right? Towards the end of July. So he had to come in, right? We had to recruit. So
Right.
we had about 6 or 7 scholarships positions open. So we had to get out here. I seen we were going to talk a little bit about networking, right? But due to
Yep.
our networking and all of the networks that we have, we were able to put together a staff, a team, right? Within that within a 3 week span, that he got the job, or that we all gotten the jobs, right? So it's just, man, you're always recruiting. You're always watching film. You're always like studying. You're always trying to figure out ways to improve. And being an assistant coach, your number one job is to, support your head coach. But you got to think like a head coach. So just because I'm an assistant doesn't mean like I can sit back and let my head coach do everything. Nah, I got to carry my weight. I got to watch. I got to watch more film, right? I got to get to the gym early when we got workouts. So if we got practice, I'm there at 8 a.m. working guys out for 30 minutes before practice starts, right? It's a real everyday grind because, like I said, Bryan and Stratton was a game away from getting to the national tournament, and now we don't want to just get to the national tournament. We want to win it. So like our mindset this year is national championship or bust, right? Because we want to win, and we want to make history because uh MATC, Milwaukee Area Technical College, they're also a D2 junior college, and they won it last year. So we're
Right.
saying we
Right.
want to keep, right? We want to keep that national championship here in Milwaukee. So we want to do everything in our power to win it all ourselves. So with that, with it, when you got those aspirations, and you got that high or crazy of enough faith to believe that you're capable of doing it, it just requires you to put in just as much work, and that's what we're here to do.
No, that's dope, man. Like I said, congratulations on that. And it's funny, like we crossed paths this summer, or we crossed paths a couple times, during the
Yep,
AAU or
yep. But
whatever.
this
So it's
summer,
always,
yep, on the
yep. So it's
circuit.
always love. And I know you coaching a program too. So are you still able to do that?
I'm still able to do that. Um, so I'm with Chapman Basketball Academy, um, coaching our 2026 kids. So that's sophomores right now. Um,
Okay.
we're on the NY to LA independent circuit. We had a really good year last year, so we finished second in the country on our circuit. So my goal is to see these guys through, finish out these last 2 years with them on top of doing the college coaching thing because at AAU in high school, they got the live periods and the non-live
Right.
periods. So I'll be able to coach my guys in April and coach them in May. Then in all June, there is no AAU. It's all high school stuff. So
High
June is
school,
my
yeah,
month
yeah.
where, yep, June is my month where I'll hit the pavement really heavy with recruitment and get back on that recruiting trail, trying to see who gonna be the next future Bobcats.
Okay. All right. But I can't let you get out of here without spicing this thing up a little bit.
Oh man, let's do it.
So I got to know. You said you graduated 2009, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I want you to tell me who you go with as your top 5 in the state for basketball.
Ever?
Yep. We'll
Ever
do
or
ever
my
for
era?
now. That's first. Ever
Ooh.
first.
Ooh, that's
Because
tough.
where all this stem from. All this kind of stem from me and Vander having a conversation.
Yep.
And it kind of went around the state, and
Yeah,
everybody wasn't necessarily.
Vander crazy. So I'll say, ooh, that's tough. Um, ooh, you put me on the spot. All right. I'm gonna just give you 5. Spreewell, Nick
All right.
Van Exel, Spree, Nick the Quick, um, Devin Harris, um, man, Wesley Matthews, and I'm gonna throw a big in there. I'm gonna go Looney.
Looney. Okay.
Yep.
Looney probably would Looney be the most decorated out of the state with
Yep,
championships?
he's the most decorated for sure.
So now give me 5 in your era. So what was that?
Ooh.
2005 to 2009?
Yep. All right. Ooh, that's tough. Vander gonna be so mad. Ooh, Van, if you see this, I love you, bro. But ooh, uh, Deontay Garrett, Deontay Garrett.
He went to Iowa
The,
State, right?
yep. Dwight Bikes, Wesley Matthews. Man, DeMarcus Phillips. He played at Washington, won Mr. Basketball 2008. He's definitely in my 5. And finally, I'm gonna go Jamil Wilson.
Okay. I remember Jamil out of Racine, right?
Yep. It'll have to be Jamil or Jerron Mayman for sure.
And yeah, they used to battle. They battled
Yes.
all the way through. Um,
Yes.
I never heard of said DeMarcus Phillips.
Yes, dog. He was cold. So he played at Milwaukee, Washington. They finished like top 2 in the state his senior year.
Okay.
Bro, he averaged like 26 a game, hops out of this world, handle, could shoot it, went to Marshalltown Community College for 2 years, then ended up transferring to Iowa State to play for Fred Hoiberg, did a year there, got in some trouble after that, and then like his career was over. Oh, wait,
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take him out. I gotta throw Mike Taylor in there. Mike Taylor
Mike,
graduated.
Mike. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta throw Mike Taylor in there. Got to. First guy ever drafted from the D League to the NBA. Like, it's a no-brainer.
All right. Well, then last one. Give me your starting 5: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center.
Mm.
Because we grew up in the era where basketball still had positions.
Yep. All right. So, I'm gonna go. Deontay Garrett is my point guard. No, I'm gonna go. Devin Harris is my point guard. I'm gonna go. Greg Brown is my 2 guard.
Vincent, right?
Yep. Um, then I'm gonna go. Man, I'ma go. Man, that's tough. That's tough. I'ma go Jamil Wilson as my 3.
Okay.
6'8", could do it all. Um, then I'ma go at the 4. I'll go Marcus Landry, and at my 5, man, I'm just trying to put a team together that I think could win it. At my 5, I'm going to go Deontay Burton.
Man, listen, I saw him the first time in person when he was playing for TP Elite.
Yes.
And he was in the 8th grade
Bro, he
dominating.
was a man-child, bro.
Oh, my God. His athleticism and length and strength. I was like, this kid is 6'3", 210 pounds as an 8th grader.
And, like, handle, could shoot it, dunking on
and
people.
Take off on you. And like he never really grew from that. Like he might have gotten another inch after 8th grade, but he was such a freak athlete, it didn't matter.
Yes. Like, bro, he got to the NBA being a 6'4", 6'5", like power forward. and can't really knock down the NBA 3 like at a consistent rate, but like he was that athletic that teams took a chance on him, bro. Like I don't think people understand like how gifted that guy is.
Hey, shout out to you because you're the first person that threw his name in there, and I remember watching him, and he came down to Madison and played in a tournament when he was in the 8th grade playing 16U and was destroying. Saw him play NY to LA that same year, destroying.
Mm-hmm. He was that guy.
I will say this: I was surprised that you didn't say Caron Butler or Reese either.
So for that, I was going more so like off high school. So I ain't really get to see Caron play in high school, and I ain't get to catch Reese in high school. Like I caught Reese during them Conference USA battle days. You know what I mean?
The Louisville Marquette days.
Yeah, man. That's when Reese was nasty. Like his brother Corvon was nice too, though. Corvon had game.
Corvon, the athletic director at West.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
That's what's up.
So yeah, man, I super appreciate you jumping on. I wanted to give you an opportunity, like go ahead, promote the school one more time because you can share this with folks in the community at your schools or whatever, and talk about it. Let them know like why Kingdom Prep is where they need to be.
Oh man, so yeah, Kingdom Prep. We're located in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, which is in Milwaukee. It's a great school, bro. We're changing lives every day, giving young men the opportunity to build brotherhood. We're teaching these guys real life skills. So your junior and your senior year, in order to graduate from our school, you have to do a paid internship, and we provide that internship for you. So they're getting like real work, like they're getting real world application, and they're also getting paid to do so. So it don't get no better than that, man. So we got that. And then freshman and sophomore year, we're just exposing these dudes to so much, whether if it's going to different colleges, we're introducing them to trades, we're introducing them to real estate, different levels of entrepreneurship. So once they graduate, bro, they have 1,000,001 different things to choose from, right? So growing up in the city, like the best thing you could do after high school is have options. And that's what we're just trying to provide these dudes with, man. We're trying to provide them with options, exposure, and we're trying to give them an opportunity to pull from a network and a community of like-minded individuals.
I'm actually glad that you hit on exposure because I tell people all the time, exposure is key. And you'll only pursue what you can see. And if you only see two things, then the two things you're going to pursue. Yep. But unfortunately, if you only expose the two things and they're both negative, that's still what you're going to pursue. So the more you can expose kids to different things for them to visualize and see what they can be, the better.
And you hit that on the head, man. You only know what you know. So once you know, like, it's different opportunities out there, you kind of gravitate towards those things.
Facts. So, man, I definitely appreciate you. Hold on for a second after we get out of here, but I just wanted to make sure everybody got an opportunity. Holler at Chuck Smith, especially if you're in the Milwaukee area. And if you interested in and have any questions about college basketball, I'm sure he'll help y'all out as well. So, Chuck, definitely appreciate you, my dude.
Oh, no problem. Thank you as well.
Yes, sir.